History allows us to enter a magical world of discovery. Behind us is Torquay Museum, a place of local and international importance. In 1844, Torquay Natural History Society was founded, and less than a year later, the Society decided to establish a museum with the primary objective of illustrating the natural history of Devon. 175 years later, the museum now holds over 330,000 items from Devon, the UK, and from across the world. It is visited annually by thousands of people, holds events, exhibitions, conferences, and is a place of research for local and international experts, and even the odd Hollywood studio. In the next few minutes, we'll be looking at the museum's collections, some amazing historical items, as well as chatting to a few of the experts that we have here at the museum. We will go behind the scenes into the storerooms. Amazingly, only 1% of the collection is on display at any one time. The museum we're now in was built in 1876, but its history goes back much further than this. It was in 1844 that the Torquay Natural History Society was founded by a group of people who are fascinated by natural history and the world around them.
So William Pengelly is one of the founders of the museum. The museum was founded by Torquay Natural History Society, and just less than a year after the Natural History Society was founded, they decided to found the museum, and William Pengelly was one of the founder members of the society and therefore the museum.
So Kent's Cavern has got a very strong relationship with Torquay Museum. In fact, most of the collection, most of the artefacts that were found here in the caves are stored in Torquay Museum.
Welcome to the museum's paleontology store. This is where the museum holds its designated collection, which is the most important collection in the museum. Most of it was collected by William Pengelly, and it was one of the primary reasons that the museum was founded back in 1844.
And in fact, Arthur Ogilvie, the curator at Torquay Museum, made the most famous discovery of all in the cave, which is the Kent's Cavern jawbone. And it's dated at somewhere between 40 to 42,000 years old. This makes it the oldest human fossil ever found anywhere in Britain. And it sits not in London, but in Torquay Museum. What a great place for it to be, right next to the site where it was found.
Torquay Museum with Samtec, the museum's mummy.
So we're here with Samtec, who's our 2,000-year-old boy mummy, who was probably about 2 or 4 years old when he died, and he was left to us by Lady Lees, who was the daughter of the Paris singer sewing machine magnate, and she went around various parts of Egypt and collected things, including our boy mummy Samtec.
This is an X-ray of Samtec after they mummified him. Torquay Museum didn't know how Samtec died, so they sent him through a CT scanner in Torbay Hospital.
And he was recently featured in BBC Civilizations, and there's a whole app associated with him in augmented reality.
So the museum welcomes lots of school groups every year, and we encourage students to think about the world in a different way by looking at the objects that we hold. We also have a Young Archaeologists Club, and we try and go on excavations every year, and we run a variety of different activities to encourage people to look at the world around them in a different way.
Welcome. Torquay Museum holds about 70,000 items in its archive, which include photographs of local area and lithographs, watercolors and slides of many sizes and formats. The most important part of the archive is the designated collection. We also hold the Percy Fawcett archive.
One of Torquay's most famous explorers was Percy Harrison Fawcett. The museum holds his diaries and letters about his search for a lost city he called Zed. Though he mysteriously disappeared in 1925 on a search for the lost city in South America, his story lives on. The museum holds some incredible archive items from Fawcett, like this amazing photograph album from his 1913 expedition. He used a camera just like this one, a Kodak Eastman, to take these photographs. It is said that he was the inspiration for George Lucas to create the character of Indiana Jones, and his story was also turned into a recent Hollywood film. In 2016, his granddaughter unveiled a special plaque in the gallery to commemorate her grandfather's achievements.
Okay, so you wanted a sword. We went in the racking. We found this unusual one that I've never seen before. Do you want to take it out and explain why you like it?
So basically, it has a etching in it. So there's two different greys, and it's a very fine lines between them. Where as it was made, they constantly folded the metals over. I couldn't really count to see how many times, and then as they've gone on sort of making it, they would dip it in an acid bath for a set period of time. They'd kind of decide that themselves, and then it would etch away one of the metals, and it reveals this what's called a Damascus. The metal would be called Damascus steel.
And we've been looking through the ethnography section of the store to find this choker, which we think is from Kenya.
I think it's just kind of interesting to me because, as you can see, I'm wearing a choker right now, but obviously it's incredibly modern.
Yes.
I just find it interesting that that sort of fashion has been around for ages, even before it was really considered fashion in a way.
My name's Heather Adams. I'm Learning Officer at the museum. With the museum we have schools workshops which are very hands-on and fun and informative on a variety of subjects. The most popular one is about ancient Egypt, where we have a role-play embalming session which the children particularly like. We also have community open days, family days. We've had a Roald Dahl day, a Harry Potter day, which was very, very popular. We also have Takeover Day in association with Kids and Museums, which is a really fun day when we invite our local schools in and the children take over all the jobs in the museum which adults normally do.
Welcome to the Agatha Christie Gallery here at Torquay Museum. The gallery's actually been in place here since the centenary of the birth of Christie in 1990, but it has evolved markedly. Today we have some incredible objects in the gallery. The furniture, some of the props and costumes from the ITV adaptation of Poirot. So we have everything from this magnificent desk behind me, which sat in Poirot's study, played by the incredible and the talented David Suchet. We also have his costumes and his canes, and we have other furniture from the rest of his beautiful Art Deco apartment in London. But we do also have some personal effects from Agatha Christie herself, including her fur coat and, more importantly, most importantly, one of her planning notebooks, the one from Death on the Nile. Agatha Christie was born in 1890 in Torquay. Torquay itself and the surrounding area was a major influence on Agatha Christie during her lifetime. So everything from the formation of the character of Poirot, who is, we believe, was loosely based on a Belgian refugee during the First World War, and also even her knowledge of poisons which she gained when she was working as a VAD volunteer nurse. Each year, around the time of Christie's birthday on the 15th of September, Torquay Museum plays host to a whole series of events during the International Agatha Christie Festival. Christie herself was not only the formative, best-known crime writer of all time, but she was also one of the best-selling authors of all time. In fact, only Shakespeare and the Bible outsold Agatha Christie.
Farming and rural life is an important part of the economy of Devon. This is reflected in one of the museum's most important social history collections, displayed here in the Old Devon Farmhouse Gallery. The collection was largely the result of the work of Charles Laycock, who collected many hundreds of items relating to farming life in Devon. The gallery and stores are full of wonderful handmade objects, many made before the Industrial Revolution and reflecting uniquely Devonian farming practices. Highlights include the only known surviving packhorse equipment and a two-way Devonian plough known as a zole.
So there you have a brief glimpse of 175 years of collecting at Torquay Museum. Some amazing objects. Here's to another 175 years of helping the public engage with our collections and see how the past shapes our future.